Spending years thinking there was something wrong with me and chasing validation is the reason I was broke for so long and also had trouble really getting results for my clients in the way that I know I could. So, today we're going to talk about the insidiousness of thinking that there's something wrong with you and needing validation, where that comes from, how it unfolds for you, and how I broke out of that and continue to break out of more and more layers of that to build an incredible life. So, my name is Ona. I'm a psychic business guide, mentor. I also am an acupuncturist. I use guided acupressure as part of how I help clients break patterns from the past and build their reality. For the longest time in my life, I really felt like a total outsider. I'm not the only one who feels that way, I'm sure. Um, but it was this sense of there being something inherently wrong with me. It was so baseline in my reality that I didn't really question it. Like, I didn't have this conscious thought of, oh, I believe something's wrong with me. It wasn't at that level of awareness for most of my life. It was just this sense I had of reality, like the sky being blue or grass being green. Like, it wasn't this thing I questioned, it was just this thing that was. I was deficient in some way, like there was something off about me, there was something wrong with me. And I remember the first time I came so face to face with this wound was when I did salvia at age 17, I want to say. And if you don't know what salvia is, it's this powdery substance that comes from a plant, and can be used medicinally, right? But at the time, they were selling salvia. So this was like, gosh, if I was 18, I don't even know what year, 17 maybe? I don't know what year it was, but it was like early 2000s, probably like 2010. Back then, you could buy salvia at the store legally. Um, and not anymore, I don't think. But kids were really excited about it because of its psychedelic properties, right? We all wanted to like do drugs and experience psychedelics. So I remember that me and my friends bought the strongest form of salvia available at the store, right? The absolute strongest kind. And we took like a big bong, like a nice bong. This is not how you're supposed to do salvia. Whatever. We didn't know. We just wanted to be extreme, right? So we got this bong and cleaned it out fully and completely. So it was like the cleanest, most pristine bong ever. Like, I think it had like ice, like a percolator. I don't know. It was like a really nice one. And we packed that shit full of salvia. No marijuana, nothing else, just salvia. For those of you who've done salvia, you're probably like, I know where this is going. That's going to be a lot more extreme than any of you are anticipating. And the answer to that is yes, it was. It was so much more extreme than I could have possibly anticipated. And I guess I thought it would be like I guess I thought it would be like marijuana, but maybe with some like fun visuals. That was my thought process. That's not what it was. So as soon as I took that hit, my whole reality fell apart. I didn't know my name anymore. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was. We were all just like hanging out in our friend's apartment. I remember Hot Chick was playing on the TV. Is it Hot Chick? Yeah, I was Hot Chick was playing on the TV. And like that, there was no separation. Like, Hot Chick may as well have been just as much a part of my reality as my own heartbeat. Like, everything, like all semblance of how I understood reality, like completely came apart. And I want to share that since then, I have done many psychedelics. I have had some pretty meaningful ayahuasca experiences in Brazil. I have done mushrooms and LSD. Nothing, and I mean nothing, has torn apart my reality to the degree that the rip of salvia did. Nothing, nothing. Like that was a whole nother level, okay? So I really had no sense of anything in the way that I normally would, no sense of time. And actually, my sense of time started to come back, and it was really alarming because what had happened was so everything was apart, and I started to build myself back. I started to build my face. Like I was at a construction site. I was like freaking out. I was like, gotta figure out who I am, gotta rebuild myself. So I'm like construction site building my face. I could only get half my mouth. And so I couldn't talk. I was like, fuck, I know I have a mouth, but I can only seem to build half of it. So I couldn't talk, I couldn't really move. And I'm building, and finally my name comes to me, and I start to be able to move. I stand up, and I just remember I had this overwhelming sense that I was messing up space time, like the fabric of time and space, especially time. Like, and it was this gnawing shame and guilt. It was this feeling of I am a mistake. Like, my very beingness in this moment is messing up time, is messing up the fabric of reality. And I didn't know that I even had that wound. And it still, of course, I wasn't thinking of it as a wound. I was just thinking of it as reality, of course. This is my only sense of reality in that moment. And I just remember I walked outside and I kind of like keeled over. And I remember telling my boyfriend or asking my boyfriend at the time, like, when does this end? Like, when is this going to be over? He was like, probably soon. And he was right. This was a 10-minute experience. 10 minutes means nothing when you lose sense of reality as you know it. 10 minutes may as well have been, the whole day, right? But looking back on that experience, it's obvious to me just how deeply ingrained in my system that sense of wrongness was. And a lot of it does come from my childhood, but I think it's even deeper than that. So I would say as a child, I think I was misunderstood. I don't think I felt very seen. Wasn't really like played with, right? I had a whole inner world. I was a very imaginative kid. A lot of it was by myself. A lot of it was happening alone. But even prior to that, I think in the womb, my mother had a lot of anxiety and a lot of the same exact sense of like something being off about her, wrong about her, off about the moment, wrong with the moment. And so, even like as a fetus, I was experiencing that. But I really think it's even prior to that as an intergenerational wound and maybe even a past life wound. Um, and honestly, like even on a societal level, we use shame to regulate. Like this is how a lot of systems are run. This is how we do things. It's like you're afraid of things and you're ashamed of things, and this is what keeps society running the way that it's running. And it's not that that's always a bad thing. Like they are in fact regulating forces. I just believe that we are coming to a heightened state of awareness as a species, honestly. And as we come into this more heightened state of awareness, we need to let go of fear and shame as regulating forces and begin to trust. It sounds really cheesy, but begin to trust that love can do the same thing, right? Because if you're connected deeply to love, you can trust love to keep you safe, right? That you will. So, for example, you're driving down the road, and instead of being like terrified, and that's what keeps you a safe driver, you just love yourself and others on the road so deeply that, of course, you're going to drive safe. Do you see what I mean? It's like you can actually use love as a regulating force, and there's a very different quality to it, right? So, like, I'm going to um act in a way that is good, of goodwill to others, because I have so much love, like so much love for myself, and to the point where I can feel that I am connected to other people, that we are ultimately one and the same. And so that love for them is very, very present no matter who they are. And so I don't need shame to regulate my behavior towards others in the community because I'm so deeply connected to love, right? And this is the evolution that's happening with humans. It's like really coming into that. And it begins inside of us with being able to drop shame and drop fear as regulating forces, right? But it's so baked in. It's like this is how you socially learn to exist in the world. Like if there's this deep-seated belief from centuries past that without shame, you're gonna do something bad, right? That you are bad, that there's something inherently wrong with you. And we've learned to not trust desire because desire is this thing that like will just lead us to being like incredibly selfish and living in excess, and then we shame it, right? So we see things as like greedy and wrong. So wanting anything taboo, like wanting to have great orgasms and great sex, wanting to make more money, right? Like wanting to have more power, more influence, right? We see these things as dangerous. Like a lot of people are like, oh no, you shouldn't want that. Like it's not just about that. They'll instantly regulate you. If you've ever noticed that, like, oh, I just want to have like lots of money and influence and like feel amazing and like people will try it. Say that to people in your life. They will be like, it's not just about that. It's not about the money. They're like instantly trying to regulate it. And the thing is, that's because sex, power, money are like, especially as women, there is so much power in that, so much energy in those things. They're amplifiers. They all act as amplifiers. It's amplification, visibility, influence, money, sex, all of these things, like pleasure, right? Not even just sex, like all of these things amplify. They are massive amplifiers, which actually, by the way, is how ayahuasca works too. It's an amplifier. A lot of psychedelics are essentially, I don't know, I haven't done all psychedelics, but I think, at least in my experience, psychedelics are amplifiers. That's why some people have bad trips because they are lying to themselves about something and the substance comes in and amplifies the shit out of it, and they're not ready to face that, or they don't want to face that, and they resist it. And but the amplification is so huge that they can't really avoid it, and that leads to like really extreme dissonance that causes them to go into a state of like total panic. I've never had a bad trip. I will never have a bad trip. I might have a bad experience whilst tripping because I can't control the external reality, but I can always control my relationship to it. So I'm immune. I don't, like anybody can be somebody who never has a bad trip because you know what's being amplified. You know yourself, right? And also if you were to discover something new, it's okay. It's okay. You can make peace with yourself. So there's nothing like, oh, like that's no, I can't handle that. No, it's you. There's nothing to be scared of, right? Like when you have that kind of relationship to yourself and to reality, amplification doesn't scare you, right? But actually these other forms of amplification might still be blocked in your field and in your reality because it seems too dangerous to this coding that's like deep in your body. So shame is tampering things down. It's regulating things. Fear too. It's regulating your behavior. It's regulating how you act. And if you suddenly just say, well, I want loads of money, loads of influence, loads of pleasure and bliss, and um, you are still operating with shame and fear as regulators. It's not that you never have shame or you never have fear, but your operating system is using them as regulators in your life. If you just pour a bunch of gasoline on that with amplifiers like visibility, influence, and cash, that is just going to amplify the shit out of your fear and shame, and it's gonna suck. It's not gonna be fun, right? So your system doesn't want that, um, because it's a lot more powerful than like a one-off psychedelic experience. It's a lot more powerful to have like genuine money and visibility in the world. And so people shame it. They're very scared of it. Um, and I think it's easier for people to see that as the problem than to really understand that all it's doing is amplifying. So it's easier to say, like, oh, rich people are greedy, or rich people are boring, or rich people are missing out on the really good things in life. What I've noticed is that broke people have tons of pride. As a broke person, have had lots of pride. Like, oh yes, but I have a deeper experience of life. I know what really matters, as if like all rich people are completely void of like love and belonging and beautiful things. It's not true. I'm here to tell you it's not true. Some of them, yes. Yes. Poor people too. Like everybody struggles sometimes with being fully present for their life and like fully enjoying it and fully belonging and fully being in the love. Like loads of people struggle with that all across the spectrum. Money amplifies it. So if you're somebody who's very isolated, who doesn't feel like they belong, who doesn't know how to trust people, that will be amplified with wealth. So it might be more obvious to people, you might notice it more, but it's not the wealth. It's an amplification of that person and where they're at, right? So I've also met women who are really committed to personal development, who are always growing, who care deeply for others and for their community, who are interesting, intelligent, passionate people who also not happen to be, they did it themselves. They chose to become very wealthy. And I've met them. I've met multiple women like this. I've met a lot of, at this point in my life, I've met so many multimillionaires. And a year ago, I couldn't say that, but now I have. I've met a lot of multimillionaires. And I'm here to tell you that they're not these like greedy, boring, devoid of real meaning people. They just like making money also. And it amplifies everything about them. And they're like not afraid of that. They're not, you know what it is? They trust their desires. They're not regulating with shame. Not, and I'm not saying this is true for every rich person, but I've met women like this who do not regulate with shame. They trust themselves. They trust what they desire without question. There's no drama around it. It's just like, oh, well, what I desire is what I desire. So it's fine. Like it's great. Like I just that's what it is. Like they just accept it. It's a very different thing than like a desire that's hungry or a desire that wants. And I really feel like there needs to be so much more of a distinction around this always and forever. Like we just need to talk about this until most of humanity understands it, is that there are different kinds of desire. And maybe you can even think of it as a spectrum, but it's like desire without hunger is literally just a compass. Like it can actually have a lot of neutrality around it. And I think people who aren't used to feeling that way sometimes have trouble conceptualizing it because there's so much distrust and so much shame and so much fear, and at the same time, so much hunger. Because if you're regulating with shame and fear, you're also living a life that isn't really a true reflection of your essence because you're doing things because you think you should. You're taking actions in your life because you think this is how it has to happen. Like, this is what's right, or this is what I have to do. Otherwise, I won't be okay. Like, I have to work this job I hate. Otherwise, I won't be okay. Like, there's a million mind justifications for like why you're living this way, but it's not how you want to be living. It's not your essence. It's not who you really are. So what happens there is your desire becomes this hunger. It becomes this like desperation. And it's through this lens of like things being wrong, things being off. Like and it can start to feel like it's never enough. Like you never have enough money, you never have enough time, you never have enough friends, you never have enough people who love you. Like it can be all of those things or like one of those things or whatever. Like wherever it manifests in your life, it becomes this like and you want things. And then it can actually be like turning into jealousy and be this kind of thing where it becomes prideful. Like, well, I'm not greedy. Like I don't need to make millions of dollars. I'm grateful. When really you're just like jealous. Like it's not the same thing as like this joyful gratitude, which actually, by the way, does naturally expand. Gratitude is not complacency or settling. It's actually this very expansive energy because it's so like, yes, please, more, please. Like it's very beautiful and expansive and it moves. But a lot of people are actually in stagnancy and calling it gratitude. And it's not what that is, right? And so their experience of desire is so closely linked to shame. And this was me for a really long time. It's like desire and shame were like this because something was inherently wrong with me. Like, and you heard me describe it with the Salvia story. Like, it was innate in my being. Like, this is baked the fuck in. It wasn't just like, oh, I had this one bad childhood experience, and so I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. No, no. And you can't break out of that just from figuring it out. That's like baseline. That's step one is like, oh, maybe this is a story and not reality. Maybe, just maybe, I could live a life where I don't operate from shame. Like realizing that is so powerful. It's just the first step because actually breaking that out of your system, I mean, this is like it's baked in. It's in there. It's in the mixture. It's like you gotta like make a whole new sheet of brownies. Like that shit is baked in, right? So where was I? I forgot where I was here. Basically, it's like when you operate from that, desire and shame are like this. They're like they're like this. They're linked. They're linked. And so it's no longer a reliable compass. And it is just hunger. Like it's this thing you want these things, but then you don't want these things, and you're living in contradiction because you're just telling yourself you shouldn't want these things, or you're lying to yourself about what you want, or you're saying you want something, but you put it in this like on a pedestal as this like silly thing that could theoretically happen to you, but could never be something you get. This is the lottery chasers. Oh my God. I have to like call some people out right now too, because like the worst is people who are like, who understand some elements of witchcraft and are like, and manifestation and things like that, but are like hoping and wishing for the fucking lottery. Like how disempowering. That to me is like a number one indicator that you're still stuck in a victim mindset to some degree because it's like you want this like it's like you don't really want what you want. You're contradicting yourself on what you really want because you're not actually going after it, but you want it to like happen to you. Almost as if there's like a fault with really wanting it and going after it. Like there would be something wrong with you if you went after the wealth. And so you want the wealth to happen to you like a victim. Like it's like, oh, it's just been placed upon me. I made a little altar and bought a lottery ticket and oh, now I'm wealthy. No, bitch, recognize your inherent value. Realize that you are not wrong or bad. Trust your compass, trust your intuition, trust your desires. Go after what you want, not from hunger, not from chasing, but from deeply, deeply trusting your compass, your fucking body, your womb, your desire. You gotta actually follow it. And this is a huge leap of faith because you've got to believe. I feel like it can be I feel like it can be kind of misleading and like difficult to tell people you have to believe in something because it's like you lose so many people right away because they're like, but I don't, right? And I see the value in like finding other routes. Here's what I'll say. Believing something is the ultimate shortcut. You don't have to do blind faith. If you're really like dead set against blind faith, you're like, I can't do that. I'm too logically minded. I need to understand the mechanics of how things are working. Okay, fine. At least you know yourself. At the same time, you are missing out on the easiest motherfucking shortcut. Like, belief and faith is so, it just like, it makes things go like this because really your subconscious is like, you can think of like your subconscious as being connected to the larger whole. So even without, let's just say like you don't believe in anything, like there's no God, whatever, which that sucks because it makes things a lot easier. But okay, let's just say like on a physical level, you're looking at the fact that we're like clearly connected. We have like the same, almost the same DNA. We're giving birth to each other. We're like made of the same stuff that this planet is made of, right? And so we have like connections to one another. And even like ancestral knowledge is not woo woo or anything like that. It's like that's how you have like certain instincts, right? That's part of how evolution works. It's like you learn things and it becomes like part of your DNA and like part of your being and part of your remembering of how you move through the world, right? So you can think of the subconscious as being like part of that greater whole. And everything your body does automatically without you consciously deciding, like your heart beating and your lungs breathing and things like that. All of that is working toward vitality and life. So your body wants to live. And like sometimes it does things that we don't understand, and it does things that suck and can kill you, but always it's for a reason. Like it's trying to keep you alive. If things get messed up, still without you having to think about it, your body is trying to keep you alive at all times. So I would say that your body is also wanting you to be vital at all times. Like it wants that for you. Like this light could be better. It wants that for you. So you get to come into this place where you believe that everything in its natural motion is moving towards health. Like you get a cut on your arm and it's like it heals by itself without you having to like, even if you don't put a band-aid on it, right? Like it's gonna do its thing. It's trying its best to do its thing, right? So when you realize that, you can kind of come into harmony with these principles of like life moves toward health. Life moves toward vitality without you having to control it. Ecosystems want to calibrate themselves. When we don't do anything to them, they do that. They come into abundance and vitality. Like you leave the rainforest alone, that shit is so abundant, so vital, so beautiful. Like it does that by itself. Like it's a natural motion. Like and you can kind of think of it like this undercurrent happening beyond the human conscious mind, this movement of things, right? And so you've got to come to a place where you trust that. Because think about it this way. When you are saying, okay, something is wrong with me, something is off about me, and I need to, with my mind and with my concept of shame and stories, control that. Like, think about that. Think about what you're saying there. What you're implying is that the natural, like, innateness and rhythm of you is wrong. It's wrong. I I've decided it's wrong. It's bad. No, it only makes sense that in a fundamental sort of way, you're right. Like you're good. You're exactly as you were made to be. And because it just is. Like anything, and you can start extending this to like every part of your life that you cannot control. So anything that's like outside of you, anything that other people's actions, blah blah blah, everything around you, things that happen to you, cause and effect, bad weather, a car accident, whatever happens, like you can decide that ultimately everything is moving towards health. Like you can decide that ultimately it's happening for you. And so when you jump off the cliff and trust your innate desires, like where you're as a compass, not as like a hunger, like, oh, I need more money because I'm not okay. That's not a compass. That's you deciding that things are not okay. That's you not trusting. That's you saying things are not okay. I need to step in and control it and make it better. That's a very different thing than this like just this desire of like, oh, I want to be on stage, or like that's always been a desire of mine, or oh, this desire of like, yes, I want to travel, I want to feel free. Ooh, like I like nice, good, healthy food, and oh, I want to, like laugh with people and giggle and feel amazing and be loved. Like these desires in the body, they are a compass. They are moving you. And so to trust that fully and completely means that you are trusting that the shame you have is an illusion. It's a story. It's a regulating factor, but it is not innately who you are. And so that by following this compass and moving through life in this way, you will eventually come to see that your essence, your actual essence amplified in the world is in fact a good thing. But you've got to realize that there is some duality there. You cannot be all good things all the time for everyone. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. And so many people want that, and it really just holds them back from even being their essence. They don't trust their essence. They trust the shame. Trust a lot of people trust shame and fear more than they trust themselves, more than they trust their heart and their essence. And they think that this is going to do better things in the world. Some of the worst people are fucking people pleasers. But we think a lot of people believe that it's like the audacious rich people that suck. Maybe those people are more public or like called out more often, but also it's like if you amplify anybody, it's not going to be all roses. It's not. There's going to be things that serve you or serve certain communities that don't serve others the same way. There's always, like, depending on your positioning to another person, there's always going to be things that you like and that you don't like. And because we pedestalize this, because we worship fear and shame more than an individual heart's expression in the world, we tend to, and we also because we want to externalize our own shadows and point blame, people who have more influence, we always are like, bad, 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 bad. And then through that, deciding that the influence is the bad thing, that these are the taboos, the pleasure, the power, the money, that these are the bad things, and we should just not want that. Who does it serve for us to think that way? Because the most compassionate, loving people are the most prone to thinking that way and to believing that it would be wrong of them to pursue those things and to instead stay small and stay people pleasers. So that's actually the real reason why you don't see this huge abundance of very compassionate, rich people. But I would argue there's a lot more of them than you think. You're just not seeing them. You're just not seeing them. Like, they are there. I've met them. I've fucking met so many of them. They are definitely there, existing, doing great things in the world. Lots of them, more and more every day. But part of the reason there aren't more already is this. It's this. It's thinking and believing that if you amplified the shit out of who you really are, that would be bad. That would be a bad thing. That you're not meant to have influence, leadership, power, wealth. That you're not meant to have that. Listen, when I say influence, power, all these things, that looks different for different people. It depends on your essence. For example, I am like moth to a flame. I want to be on stage. I meant to speak. I meant to speak in front of people. I used to think this was something that was wrong with me yet again. Like I had all this drama around it. It was a hungry desire. It was like, I really want to be on stage. I really want to be on stage. But there was a contradiction. There was a dissonance because inside of myself, I thought, oh, something's wrong with me. Something's off about me. So I didn't actually want the amplification of being on stage because of that. And so I just played out that story where it was something I really wanted, but I shouldn't want. Oh, maybe I'm bad for wanting it. That too. Like, oh, I'm just like a Leo who wants attention and like it's so shallow. And so there's like just all this dissonance and all this drama. And I would audition for plays and then I would get laryngitis and I would freak out and I'd get so nervous and I couldn't perform. And then I wouldn't get cast, and then I'd cry about it, and it would reinforce my shame story and that something was wrong with me. These are the loops that people get stuck in, but it's not always like being on stage. Your essence might be different. It's going to be unique to you. These things that your desire, your innate desire has pulled you towards. That you're like, oh, I belong there. Oh, I belong there. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where I belong. Oh, I love this. Oh, this feels so good. And a lot of times it's like it might be a smaller part of your life than you realize right now because you've written it off so many years ago. Even if you're an entrepreneur, even as an entrepreneur, even as somebody with a lot of freedom, even as somebody who's learned how to make money and help others, a lot of the times there is this aspect to your gifts, this aspect to like what you've really meant to do and be and express in the world that has been like tempered. Like it had because of its unique relationship to you and because you have some level of shame or some level of fear of like that's not right. It's like that thing will get pushed back. That's what happened with me in the stage for a really long time. Still even like I've had like one speaking event at the time of recording this. But I'm finally accepting on a really deep level, like I belong on the stage. Like my desire is bringing me there. But it took a backseat for so long, for so many reasons. Oh, it's not practical. I'm not good at that. It's silly that I even want that. I thought I needed healing from that. Like, oh, it's because of my validation wound. No. There was a lot of things I did to chase validation that were centered around attention and being on stage. But That's why I always talk about desires as having like a spectrum to them. It's like they can be way out of health and it can be the same desire, but it can be like from a place of extreme hunger where you're just trying to fix this like emptiness, this wound inside of you that's never going to be fixed from the external reality, all the way to the sacred heart of the desire, which is something that will uplift humanity through your pursuit of that. And when you come into that place with there's a lot of neutrality because you're not like, oh, I need this thing. It's more just like, I am this thing. Like when I finally did give that first speech, there wasn't all this drama around it. There was, oh, I hope I do. Oh, I hope people come. Oh, I don't know if I will. Like I had at that point become a different person. And I had become somebody who speaks on stage in front of hundreds of people. Like that's just who I am. I speak on stage in front of hundreds of people. It's a self-concept. And so with that identity, there isn't drama. It's not the same type of desire. It's just like a fact of reality. This is me. Like I'm drawn to this because it's me. And so without that drama around it, it manifests. Like reality reflects that back to you. But the first step is actually embracing your shadows and embracing your hungry desires so you can get to know them. Because if you're too busy policing yourself and shaming yourself, you're never going to come out of that. So you've got to like look at it. Like what do you actually want? Like if nobody was listening and nobody was judging, like what do you actually want? It can actually be so hard to get women to like say this out loud. Like I remember one time I asked a woman, I did like a session with her and I said, well, what do you really want? Like no limitations, take no limitations, no judgments, like what do you really want? And she goes, well, I think I'd work slightly less hours at my job. Like I think I'd go from like 50 hours to like 35 hours. I said, that's it. That's what you want. You want to like at a job that you don't really like, in a city that you don't really want to be living in, because you've already expressed that. I took away all judgment, all limitation. I even said magic is on the table. I think I want to work 35 hours instead of I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm making fun of this woman. She wasn't a good fit to work together longer term because she's just not in that place in her life. You've got to actually get real with yourself on what you really want because that's not what you really want. It's not. No. Like, admit it for real. Like, let's go there. What do you really want? Without the shame, without the judgment, without the caveats, without the explanations. Like, getting that out and airing that out is the first step because somewhere along the way, you've written it off as unrealistic, as selfish, as, um, whatever, like not possible. I guess I already said unrealistic, but you know what I mean? You basically, like, you've already written it off. And because of that, it's actually muting your gifts to a certain degree. Like it's lowering what you're capable of. And it's not allowing you to be the full expression of your soul, of your heart on this planet. And as we move out of a paradigm built on shame and fear and we come into one of love, the first step is just embracing those taboo desires. So that's what I would invite you to do today. Magic is on the table. Like, what do you actually want? Journal about it, voice record yourself, talk to a friend, something, air it out. Tell me what you really want. Okay? Because ignoring that and pretending that it's not there is not the same thing as overflowing with gratitude. Okay? It's just you ignoring what's there and what you really want and letting it manifest as like judgment and criticism and jealousy. So let's not do that. Let's actually look at where you're at right now and what you want and trust that at the core of that, there is a sacred desire that is, in fact, going to uplift all of humanity because ultimately we are all connected. And when we are connected with that love, we benefit the whole, even if not everybody's going to see it that way that whole time, even if some parts of it seem quote unquote bad to the mind, just like an ecosystem. Every part of the ecosystem fully trusts its essence. The tree isn't like, oh, maybe I should, you know, grow a little less high. It's not going to be good for the whole. No, every single piece of that ecosystem fucking goes for it. They are fully what they are. That is what makes the ecosystem work. You know, even if the flies came along and was like, well, I think it'd be better if there was no frogs here. And, and the frogs felt guilty. They're like, oh God, I feel so bad eating these flies, dude. Oh man. They don't use guilt and shame and fear to regulate the system, but it's trusting that that system is run on love. And we as humans are, in fact, creators. So it is different. We have consciousness, we do create. So I'm not saying that we all like turn into like just our id, like vicious animals, like going after what we want without any regard for others, because we are a different type of creature. We're highly social, we're highly conscious. So what that actually means is that we have to deeply, deeply, deeply connect to love. Like vibrate as love, like actually see the other as being connected to ourselves. It's a higher state of consciousness. So it is different than nature because it's that same regulating force, but we're conscious of it and living as it. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what we want to seek to come to, but we have to start where we are. And starting where we are is getting honest about what we actually want without shame, without judgment, without fear. Okay. Let me know how this landed and like message me like or put in the comments, what do you desire? What's coming up for you around this? Like what are the things you've been afraid to admit that you really want? Let's air that out. Let's put that out there. All right. Thanks y'all for listening. Bye.